Broadcasting live from the True Crime Today studios to the world. This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
From the Hit Killers Podcast, Murder in the Morning.
The suitcase murder trial of Sarah Boone is officially underway. You probably remember this back in 2020. This is the case where the girlfriend, Sarah Boone, puts her lover, Jorge Torres Jr., in a suitcase in her apartment. And they're playing hide and seek, according to them. These are adults, by the way. He's sitting there. There's a video that she even took of him where he's crying and begging to be let out. Sarah, I can't breathe. Sarah. I mean, it's a desperate plea. And she just mocks him, says, hey, you deserve this, basically, for the way you've treated me. And I'm paraphrasing. It hints very strongly that there was an abusive relationship going on. They both have records of abuse. Just, not the best of human beings in terms of choice making, if you will. Orange County Sheriff's Office deputies responded on February 24th of 2020 to that distress call because the next morning Sarah woke up and realized, oh shit, my boyfriend's still in the suitcase. At least that's what she says, according to her.
Don't you hate when that happens, Tony?
Oh, that happens so often when I accidentally put
shit, did I leave my boyfriend in the suitcase again?
I got a theory on her. But I'll get to that a little bit later. Don't let me forget it. Because
this will be good.
I want to talk about more of her actions and really what it points to at the end of the day. I mean, she did this. She's an idiot. And she's trying to find a way out of it like a child would. Boone reported that her boyfriend had been found dead inside the suitcase. According to Boone, the previous night, she said they were drinking, played hide and seek. At one point, Torres thought it'd be amusing if he hid inside a blue suitcase. Then, of course, all that shit happened. Central to the case are two disturbing videos Boone recorded on her cell phone. In those videos, this is where he's crying and begging to be let out. Prosecutors argue that Boone acted with malicious intent to punish Torres, suggesting that she did not care whether he lived or died. William J., Assistant State Attorney for Florida's 9th Judicial Court, stated, she did this with a malicious intent to punish him. And then she went upstairs to sleep and left him to take his final breaths on this earth alone. Here is some of that opening statement. We got to say this, because you had mentioned this off the air, that as typical in a lot of trials, they don't understand how microphones work. I know this is a real crazy concept that you speak into a microphone to be heard. But still, people who do this shit for a living, people who work in courts and have to be heard, it still eludes them. I don't know why we're the only one who understands these ideas in broadcasting, but that's how they work. So do your best to listen. Stacey did some edits to make it the best we could. Let's take a listen to the state opening.
She says that you're going to see phone videos of Mr. Torres smashing her TV in the past, like a month earlier. You may see that too. But she doesn't get drunk. When she drinks, she likes being non-compos mentis, her words, not mine, having her wits about herself. Then she gets to the hide and seek again and describes that they've played it 3 times before, but had never zipped one another shut in it before. And they were really just running out of places to hide because it's just a townhome. She does not remember, according to her, she does not remember taking any photos or videos of the night's events. At this point, they ask her, well, would you like to see it? And she says, I can't watch this. I flipped him over, and that's where it was. Guys, this is killing me right now. That's why I flipped it over between the 2 videos. I didn't do anything intentional. Discussion over whether he had enough room to get any of his fingers out from the zipper. My intention was not to leave him there. We both got in there. Both of us were in there.
What?
When she went upstairs, my plan was not to, quote, he'll be up here any minute. My plan wasn't to leave him in the suitcase. Why is all this going on? It's the drinking. That's what it is. It's the drinking.
These are he's recalling her, random ass statements that she said this whole time. She likes to have her wits about her. She also likes to talk like she's the smartest person in the room, if you haven't noticed that.
Yes.
And if this sounds like someone who has their wits about her, let me know. This is her mocking the boyfriend in the suitcase. He's in the suitcase, and she's taping it. That's him. Begging for his life.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Yeah, it sounds like someone has their wits about her, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Totally. In contrast, Boone's defense, led by attorney James Owens, contends that her actions were in self-defense, stemming from what they describe as an abusive relationship. Owens asserts that Boone suffered from battered spouse syndrome and that Torres' death was the only escape from ongoing abuse. Let's listen to that.
I think the evidence is going to show that they had purchased some wine the day before, but they hadn't finished all of that. So it was in the refrigerator. Many times that's how they start their day. At some point, you're going to see a video from Publix, from where they live. I believe it's Winter Park. But Publix was not too far from their apartment complex. And they took their car, they drove over there. So you're going to see a videotape from Publix of them both going in the store about noon. And they come out with one of those larger bottles of the wine. And then, of course, there's a receipt. And the bottles are in the garbage can. Of course, there obviously is an attraction between the two. And as everybody knows, couples can have great times where things click, everybody gets along, and then we can have episodes of disagreement. And how are those resolved? Really, is what this is about. How are disagreements resolved? But George was very jealous of Sarah. And you're going to hear the testimony about that. And that he cannot, in certain situations, he can be very charming. But when his level of intoxication gets to a certain level, is when he gets sad, moody, and a lot of times eventually it involved forcible sex with Sarah Boone or actual physical violence against her.
Now, look, there's obviously nothing good about any of that, if all that is true.
Right.
But
right, absolutely. But also there are ways to deal with that.
These two don't live together. These two, there are ways of exiting an abusive relationship without murdering the other person. Believe it or not, people do it all the time. It's not easy. It's not great. It's not ever wonderful. But it's better than murdering someone.
Yeah, and there's protections, especially Winter Park, Florida, big area. If you are a battered woman, there are things you can do to help yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming the victim. That's not where I'm going. But there are things you can do versus killing somebody.
That's not blaming a victim. That's just pointing out reality and common sense. Yeah.
No, I understand being a drunk. I've had some drunks in my life. That they're not fun. Mm-hmm. They're hard to reason with. And, if somebody's an alcoholic, that makes it really difficult. But again, you know, she killed him.
Here's the deal. I think both of these people are extremely toxic human beings who are probably somewhere on the personality disorder scale or on the spectrum, without a fucking doubt. I don't know much about him, but he doesn't sound like the most lovely of human beings. What we do know about her, she has a record, and it kind of shows a track record of being a narcissistic maniac. And her demonstration of that we've seen 9 attorneys, everything's about her. She's literally, she made it a point to ask the judge if she could basically have a rider at this court where the bailiff would bring her snacks that were not available to her in the canteen. She wanted some specific ones. She wanted some cookies. She wanted a Pop-Tart. She wanted a bag of chips. She wanted all this shit like a child would ask for.
She wanted 5 mints. I'm sorry. I've worked the rider of REO Speedwagon backstage. Yeah. They weren't even that demanding.
They wanted 5 mints. 5 specific. Yeah. My point being, this person thinks like about a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
She does. I mean, or for someone in that age range, maybe 12, maybe 13. She thinks kind of like a tween. Everything's about them. There is no outside other human beings, but they exist, but they're just kind of there. There's not a lot of empathy or understanding of the outside world yet. And this is where I think she is. I think she's an insanely damaged human being. I guess is she probably had some sort of horrible trauma around that age, completely stunted her, and she's never matured any further, but she's gone through life. All of her actions speak to that mentality of basically a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
I think I can handle it all. I think I know it all. I'm smarter than everybody else, despite all of the evidence pointing otherwise. When you get to be an adult like that, it's just called a malignant narcissist. But really what happened is I don't think she ever developed, mentally beyond that, because that's how she's acting. Is it an excuse for any of this shit? No, it's not. But it's part of the recipe that makes this person who they are. When you're going, what the hell's wrong with her? That's your answer. She's about 12 mentally.
It feels like.
Yeah. She loved her man. She hated the abuse, Owens remarked during the trial. The defense also highlighted an 11-minute span of videos suggesting that these moments are crucial to understanding Boone's state of mind and the circumstances leading to Torres' death. The trial is being conducted before a 6-person jury selected after 4 days of interviews from a pool of 8 women, 6 men. Boone's expected to testify in her own case. That'll be good. A significant development as the case unfolds. Of course she's going to testify. I don't think she would allow anything but to testify. She always wants to be heard. She always thinks she knows better, and that she's kind of Alec Murdoch-y in that way, where she knows better than everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Another example would be what's our bald guy that killed the reporter?
Tellis.
Robert Tellis. All these people, same sort of disorder or personality disorder, same sort of fucking thing. And that's like they all go to the same fucking convention and go, oh, here's how we should act in life. This will work well for us.
I feel like they just hand out a template and go, here, this is how you do this.
It just shows how they think alike. And I've said this before too, from narcissistic people, like we're all narcissistic. Every single fucking person is, no matter what. But there's a point where it's just, you have some tendencies to a fucking disorder, and like everything is that. Lies, truth, none of it matters as long as it's justified in your mind as to it benefiting you. But no, I think you have that sort of thinking, and it's just anything's possible. You never know what the hell you're going to get. As the proceedings continue, the community remains divided. There's some supporters rallying behind Boone's claim of self-defense, others standing with the prosecution's assertion of premeditated harm. What do you think here? I mean, I don't know how premeditated this was. I think I honestly think she's an idiot. I just think, I don't think she truly tried to kill him, but she had no regard if that was going to happen either. There was no thinking ahead.
Yeah, I don't think this was intentional. I think this is I don't know what day of the week it happened, like a Friday or Saturday, or
Yeah.
it was just a Monday. Not exactly sure. I haven't looked, but I don't think it was, I'm going to kill him. Not like a Corey Richins kind of a thing.
No.
I feel like it's more of a Karen Reed type situation where we had a lot to drink. We did something stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember back in college being just like blackout drunk,
Yeah.
doing stupid shit. I can't believe nothing bad happened. I mean, I knew somebody, he actually wasn't drinking. A whole bunch of other people were, but he was in an astronomy class and he went out up on the roof and it had been cold.
Oh,
so
shit.
there was some frost on the roof and he slipped
Mm-hmm.
and landed on all fours and broke both wrists. One of the big things that was talked about was at the emergency room. Like, I mean, they were checking people's blood alcohol levels,
Yeah.
It's like, no, nobody was drunk. He was actually just wanting to study.
It just, yeah.
So imagine throwing alcohol into the mix.
Well, and imagine this too. Like I said, she kind of has the thought process of a 12-year-old. Get a 12-year-old drunk, and see how well that reasoning process works. It ain't gonna be very
Bad things
good.
happen.
Well, and look, kids that are that age are going to do stupid shit too. People lock each other in closets. They do all sorts of shit. They'll put each other in giant fucking Tupperware bins, and not think twice about it. Like, hey, those do like seal, and if you're a fucking 12-year-old and you're thinking that way, you might go off and take a nap. You might get distracted by something else. Squirrel, I'm going to go do this for a second. I'll come back. I'll take care of that. And it's just gone. And then you wake up later and because you weren't thinking ahead at all, because you don't possess really that ability in your brain at that age very well. Shit happens. That's bad. And then you start to learn. They start to exercise that muscle. But if you never view anything in your life as being your fault or bad, or there's consequences to your actions, you'll never exercise that muscle and you'll never think that sort of way. Hence the way Sarah Boone never seems to think that way.
Yeah.
Everything's very much in the moment, and she's not going to be responsible for the consequences of actions because in her mind, it's not really a concept that she grasps.
Well, and think of it like this. I guess, I mean, I was a child of the 80s. I can't tell you how many big chest freezers I'd been in.
Yes, exactly.
How many old refrigerators that are sitting out in the garage and you're playing hide and go seek and you hop in one. You could have died,
exactly.
But we did it anyway.
This just feels like something a fucking 12-year-old would do.
Exactly.
That's exactly the way she acts, the way that she's asking for snacks, the way that she made her fucking wanted poster for an attorney after firing all of them that the state gave her. And then she finally found one after making this poster, again, that looks like something a 12-year-old would draw in between, like at class. That's what she is. It doesn't dismiss or just excuse her charges. I think she's a huge danger to herself and anyone else she's ever to interact with because she's very unhinged and she's very narcissistic. She doesn't want to learn anything. Mm-hmm. She didn't ever take that turn of going, maybe something's not working right here. Maybe it's me. Maybe I should re-examine some of my choices here. And she's clearly someone who probably never will. So that makes her a danger. And she's already now killed someone. So regardless of this kind of explaining her recipe, I think she should go away for the rest of her life. I don't see any purpose for her. I don't see her helping anyone. I don't see there any positive thing of Sarah Boone being out in society in any way, shape, or form. There's plenty of people to work the drive-through. I don't feel like we need Sarah out there to fulfill one of those jobs.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. Her judgment. I mean, it's about judgment. And again, yeah, I get it. There is drinking involved, but if you get that drunk, maybe you shouldn't. If you do questionable things when you're that drunk. Well, but of course, that's having self-awareness and maturity.
Well, look at her when she wasn't drunk. Look at her, the way that she talked in those police interviews. I mean, she's not connected with reality.
Yeah.
She's connected with herself and her narrative, and that's how it's going to be, just like a child. The problem is she has power now. She's an adult. She can drive a car. She can go places. She can establish relationships. She can lie to people. And she can make people trust her. until they can't, when she decides to go take a nap, like after she puts somebody in a suitcase.
All right, true crime addicts, let's cut the crap. You're knee-deep in the gory details of your favorite podcast when suddenly a commercial hits like a bad meal. Seriously? You deserve better. Upgrade to True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts, where you can binge without those annoying ads. Plus, get extended interviews that go deeper into the darkness and early access to episodes so you can be the first to know. It's like trading up from fast food to fine dining, but with more blood. So, go ahead. Search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe and feast on the good stuff.